everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Green Jeans. I'm your one co-host, Anneke Van Rossum, joined by my other co-host,
Maya Van Rossum.
And if you couldn't tell by our names, we are in fact related, and we are a mother-daughter activist duo. And what our podcast focuses on is important social and environmental justice issues through a generational lens, because many of the things that my generation is working to solve are things that my mom's generation has been raising alarm bells about and is still working to solve decades later. So that's what this is about. And before we get into today's episode, Mom, do you want to talk about something really fun that happened this week?
Oh, Anneke, it was really exciting. I think people have heard us talk on this show before about the Delaware River's genetically unique population of Atlantic sturgeon. Right. It's a population that, because of the actions and activities of government and industry, has brought our population down to perilously low levels. So there are only 250 spawning adults left of the genetically unique population of Atlantic sturgeon that live only in the Delaware River. I mean, we are so close to extinction. And it was really great fun working with you and other members of the Delaware Riverkeeper Network team, folks from Water Spirit and Food and Water Watch, as well as the Lenape people of the region, and just other activists, as well as, is it the Westfield Friends School? Mm-hmm. And the students at Westfield Friends School, and also some students at Radnor High School. Anyway, we all came together and we planned this really powerful action to raise up the plight of the Atlantic sturgeon. And it was, for those who are not aware of it or just listening, it was a funeral procession for the sturgeon. And we had 250 handmade sturgeon made by the students at Westfield Friends School on this wonderful, beautiful banner representing the 250 sturgeon that are alive. 180,000 dead sturgeon. There were printed sturgeon cards with a little information on the back, representing about half. It's really only a fraction of what the historic population was. The historic population was actually about 350,000, but we couldn't have managed more than 180,000. That was a lot of boxes. How many boxes was that, Anneke? Do you know?
I feel like that was at least like 20 or so boxes, if not more.
20. Yeah, it was a lot. And then the students at Radnor made a casket, a black casket that said, "Save the Delaware River Atlantic sturgeon." And we began our funeral procession. Oh, and the casket was carried by 4 individuals, each wearing a sign saying what agency they were from: Delaware River Basin Commission, US EPA, Army Corps of Engineers, or the National Marine Fisheries Service. And they were all carrying the casket because they are the primary agencies right now that are rendering decisions that are just sacrificing the sturgeon to their extinction status. And each of the agency pallbearers had blinders on to represent, of course, the fact that they are acting blindly with regards to the ramifications of their actions and decisions. They're not really being blind. They know what they're doing. They're just choosing to do it. But that was the representation. And so we had some speakers, and then we did this powerful funeral procession around Philadelphia City Hall, because the Army Corps of Engineer offices are right there. And then we came back and we had some more speakers, and we had Native American leaders. We had 2
faith leaders.
2 faith leaders. We had a couple of young people. One of them was you, and another was this amazing 11-year-old girl, Heidi Gaynor Jacobs, who spoke very powerfully, and just other individuals who were there and said, "I want to speak. I want to speak for the sturgeon." And it was just, and then Anneke, you had selected this really great ominous music that we pulled with us on the procession. And so as we were as we were processing around City Hall very solemnly. Oh, we had some big piñata sturgeon, Atlantic sturgeon. So we had some big relatively big representations of the Atlantic sturgeon and this ominous music. And then Anneke on the, what's it called?
Megaphone.
On the megaphone did a call and response, the sturgeon are dying. And then the people responded, not on our watch. And everybody was dressed in black, and it was amazing.
I thought it went really well. It was actually, I think at first, because I was not anticipating all of the like holiday stuff to be set up already at City Hall. So I remember when we arrived, and I was like, oh my gosh, we didn't plan for this. And I was like, luckily I knew you were going to be leading, but I was like, how is mom going to navigate through? And we're going to have this creepy funeral amongst like all these bright colored lights and fake giant ornaments. So it was kind of funny actually to see the juxtaposition, but I think it made us stand out even more. And it was actually really cool being on the megaphone, because I had to move around a lot because I wasn't trying to like blast it in anybody in our procession's ear. And I could just see so many of like people in the public that were just like, and the times I stopped and you could just hear the music playing. And I think a lot of people in the public were like, what is going on? And I thought it was really cool.
Yeah, I think it's we've planned a lot of actions over the years, but I think that this is really one of the best. And again, and as with any good action, it was really a collaboration, right? Like one good idea led to another good idea to another good idea, or it was like one bad idea led to another good idea, right? Originally, we were gonna have our printed 180,000 printed Atlantic sturgeon just loose in wheelbarrows. Well, what if it rained, or what if the wind blew? And of course, then don't those sturgeon become useless? So we ended up keeping them in the boxes, and then there was the idea to put them in a big, like, compostable trash bag. But then it was like, well, but if we're going to have all these boxes, though, that's not good. So then we came up with the idea of covering it with black cloth and just paint the boxes with black cloth, and then gluing some of the dead sturgeon onto the black cloth. Representational, of course, but so it was like representational of a pile of dead sturgeon. And then we had a big pile of boxes covered in that black cloth next to the speakers. So it was like this huge pile of dead sturgeon. And again, good idea to good idea, bad idea became a good idea, dumb idea got rejected, replaced with a better idea. So I'm really, I think it was very powerful action.
Yeah, I think it was great. I think it was a very good theatrics. And I have to say, the photos I've seen of our 4 pallbearers, they actually really scary in my opinion. I think they did a great job, so I'm really proud of them too.
They did a great job. And Anneke, you already have a great idea for our next action. Do you want to give people a little hint about your idea, what we're going to do in the spring?
Oh yeah, so we're planning for a baby shower for the newborn sturgeon. Hopefully these agencies do the right thing and make good decisions so we can have even more. But well, I will just say, because of course our details still have to be worked out, we're definitely not going to plan it to be a stereotypical super joyous baby shower. I think we'll have another interesting element to it like we did with this one. So people should definitely be on the lookout for that, because we're already going to start planning it. And I just have to say, it was really supposed to rain and be a really bad day on Wednesday, and I thought it was going to be cold and awful, and I was really worried. And I think that Mother Nature really came through and knew how important it was. And it was not that cold. Like, it was cold, but it wasn't as cold as I thought. There was no rain and the sun was actually out. So
yeah, it was great. It was great. It was great. It was great. And so for anybody who's inspired by this or intrigued or wants to learn more, if you go to dinointhedelaware.org, Dino, inthedelaware.org. There's a petition there that you can sign. We're trying to get massive petition signatures to get these agencies to turn around their bad behavior. There are some critical good things that they could be doing. So that's what this petition is all about. And you can learn about the sturgeon, and you can learn about other future actions, right? And, this is the Delaware River's population of Atlantic sturgeon. But if this genetically unique population goes away, it's going to affect it's going to reverberate through the entire species, because as soon as you remove like some of that genetic material, that genetic line, it has reverberating impacts. And of course, if our agencies get away with sacrificing this population of Atlantic sturgeon, then what's to stop them from sacrificing the other population of animals that live in your area, that really intrigue you, that really enrich your life, that you really care about, or that you never think about, but frankly, they do good things for you because maybe they're a source of some, inspiration for a necessary medicine or something else. So, helping us stand for the Atlantic sturgeon helps us stand for all species, and all the actions that have to be taken to protect the Atlantic sturgeon of the Delaware River ultimately will benefit people. It's about addressing fossil fuels and industrial discharges and inappropriate liquefied natural gas exports and much, much more. So helping the sturgeon helps all of us. So dinointhedelaware.org is a way to get involved. And Anneke, this is a perfect lead-in to today's topic, because do you know what the lead in? Do you know what I'm about to say?
Go for it. You go for it.
I go for it because the Atlantic sturgeon of the Delaware River is one of the stories in the Green Amendment book, the Green Amendment, the People's Fight for a Clean, Safe, and Healthy Environment. And we are now going into time of the year when a lot of people, a lot of different cultures, for a lot of different reasons, people are thinking about gift giving. And so we were going to talk about really great environmentally friendly ways to engage in gift giving. Giving a gift of the Green Amendment book is just one great gift that you can give to advance environmental protection, inspire your friends, and, give a great gift. There you go. That's the first gift of our great gift giving idea show.
I agree. I think if you have any bookworms in your family, if you have any new students or graduates who are interested in the field of environmental work or activism, or really like community activism, I think it's a good gift. Because again, it's a book of stories and just simply how the Green Amendment plays into changing people's lives. So I think it's a good one.
It's inspirational, right? It gives us a positive, powerful pathway forward that everybody can be involved in. And I think this is another great lead in, because Anneke, one of the things that you and I had talked about focusing on first, before talking about specific gift ideas, were where to find good gifts. Because where you buy your gifts can be just as impactful in a positive way or a negative way as the kinds of gifts that you actually give. The Green Amendment book is available from the organization Green Amendments for the Generations, and all the proceeds from that book go back into the environmental protection work of the organization. So that's one idea. If you're looking for a good gift idea that you want to get double duty out of, right? You get a good gift, but you also support some good environmental protection in your community, in your region, in our world. Do some checking around at environmental organizations and see what they have to offer in their online stores. A lot of really interesting stuff to be found there. And generally the proceeds go back to support that organization. So that's one pathway to look for good gifts.
Yeah. And then definitely another one, if I know some people, online shopping sometimes can be easier, especially if you're coming down to the wire. And I know some of my friends, are pretty much planning to isolate right before the holidays because they'd like to be able to see their family and not risk getting sick or anything. So they'll be doing some online shopping. And so Etsy is like a really popular place, I know, for a lot of people, because you really do get that local artist from afar. You can do it from afar, but also, which Mom will talk about in the next other option, but supporting your local artists is really great. And in Etsy, you can set the settings to make sure you're only buying from people in the United States, or checking that you're only buying from people within your state or your region. And you can still pick smaller sellers. So if you are needing to do things online, or that's how you're finding that one thing, Etsy's a good place to support local and small businesses.
And the thing about Etsy, Anneke, is I have to admit, when you first started telling me that you were shopping on Etsy, I was like, what? But it really is a great place for a lot of things. One of the things that Anneke and I have done in the past is bought really cool t-shirts, right, with great messages or great visuals for her bonus dad, my husband, for our son, for our family members, so you can get things like t-shirts. But I also have this really great item that I found. It's a facial oil that I just love it. And it's called By Lila. That's the Etsy site. I think it's By Lila Aromatherapy. I found this oil in a when we were at a craft show at one point, and I bought 2 bottles because I was, wanted to be supportive. I was intrigued. I love it so much. And I'm like, oh my gosh, how do I get more of this oil? It was on Etsy. So the point is t-shirts to facial oils, right? There's a lot of variety there. But the other way, as you said, is really supporting local artists is really important. You want to make sure that your money goes right back into the person who created the fabulous gift that you just bought. No better way than to buy it from the creator. So Dave and I made a commitment about 3 years ago. We said, you know what, we're going to do all of our holiday shopping, well, all of it, as much as we can, by purchasing directly from the artist or the creator of that item. So we've been seeking out every year craft shows. I've always enjoyed a craft show here or there, but we've now started making a point of finding all the craft shows in our region and going and buying our gifts from craft shows. So we're giving the monies directly to the crafters, and so many interesting things that you can find there. Pottery, clothing, jewelry, handbags, kitchen, cutting boards and wooden made things for the kitchen. It's really cool. And these are gifts people will really treasure, and they're not going to find them out and about. So you're giving something really special to somebody when you buy it at a local craft show.
I would also like to, on the quick note of local people too, really tiny. Also, if you know somebody in your life that does any sort of thing, it's okay to ask if they would make something for you to give to somebody. I thought of this because I just had a friend of mine who asked me if I would knit a beanie for her to give to her grandmother, because she didn't want to buy a mass-produced one, but she wanted to talk to somebody about the design, whatever. And so I'm making it for her. And she was very kind and was like, I will pay you for your time. And the compromise I made was, you don't have to pay me for your time, but just you order the yarn and the needles that I need and send it to me and I'll make it, and that's no problem. So just also another thought for people, if you can't find crafters, but people, even just offering to pay for the materials can be really easy.
Yeah. And on that note, also be mindful of what people in your circle of life do. If you have somebody in your circle of life that works for or runs a nonprofit organization, make a point of buying one of the items from their gift shop, or give a donation as a gift, right? You can often buy a membership as a gift for somebody. Do it to the organization of somebody who's in your circle of life. They'll really appreciate it. Even if, you're an environmentalist, but their nonprofit deal, helps kids with cancer, donate to the Kids with Cancer nonprofit. Your environmental soul will feel really good about supporting a cause that somebody, your family member or friend, really like. Because it is kind of hurts when you run or work at a nonprofit, and all the people around you, they buy a gift membership in this or that, or give this kind of crappy this or plastic that. And they never think that, I could have bought this t-shirt from that organization or done a gift membership, and that person in my circle of life would have really appreciated that. Or if somebody in your circle of life has a business, right? Like we have Mary Pat Tomei that we had on this event, who sells the honey over the moon, honey. fabulous, fabulous organic honey or pesticide-free honey. We had a whole show on it. Really great. I love buying her honey as a gift. And you know how much she appreciates that? Or I have another friend, Ann Martin, who does massages, giving a gift of a massage from, that you buy from one friend to give to a family member. The people in your circle of life will really appreciate it. So be mindful. I think that that's the point of this segment, going to be mindful of what you're buying, not only what you're buying, but where you're buying it.
Mm-hmm. Well, and so I think on the note of being mindful and rolling into what kind of ideas people can get. So as it's probably no surprise, we are a big eco family. We have many reusable and oddball and odd end, whatever kind of concept you want to think of, eco-friendly, we probably have done it or have it. And so when you and I have been talking about gifts for people, and something that you made a point to is when you go visit your friends or you go visit your family to look in their home and what are they using that's throwaway or not reusable, or maybe you know of a better option. So for me, as a young person who now I have a lot of friends who are embarking on new relationships, moving into new homes, their own spaces, yada, yada. There's a lot of things that I realize that are very obvious to me that there is a reusable option. And to my friends, they would not know, but for me buying them that reusable option. So a big example is many of my friends, the thing that I have recently bought, and you can find these everywhere and they're all under different names, is reusable paper towels. And the ones I find are cool because you can, you could do it with a lot of them, but these ones are made so you can like lay them in a line and then roll them up. And then you can put them like on the paper towel roll or in a drawer. And so a lot of my friends are like, oh, I never thought about this. And I think it's also good and it helps people save money rather than buying new paper towels all the time also.
And our version of that in our house it's called a doekje. That's a Dutch word for it. And it's a square piece of cloth that is used over and over and over again to wipe down counters, to clean up spills, to do all kinds of things. And then once you've used it a couple of times, you put it in the washing machine, you wash it, and you can reuse. So, it's not quite a reusable paper towel. It's a little bit different, but it is it's not a washcloth. It's meant for the kitchen to wipe things up and clean it. Like I said, in Holland, it's called a doekje. I don't know what it's called in America, but look for that kind of thing. And people do like it. As you said, it saves them money, and people appreciate the opportunity to do things differently and better. And frankly, you can clean up spills much better with a reusable cloth that you can rinse and wring out than, gobs of paper towel that you use and then just throw in the trash. And by the way, you shouldn't be throwing them in the trash. If you use brown paper towels, put them in your compost bin. So that's
which is another good gift idea, is that we just put our compost in like whatever, like a throwaway container, like a plate on our counter. But some people don't really like to have food out, so you can always buy, they're like kind of like, you can get them in all different sizes, but a tabletop compost container that people can put their food waste in, so that they don't have to run it out every side if they do have a composter, or that they can, do a little bit of composting if they live in an apartment or somewhere that they can't get rid of. I don't know, I would just like type in like tabletop compost container and you'll find something very nice, very stylish. And they have, it's like a charcoal filter at the top. So another good thing if you'd like to do a concept is maybe buy somebody some of those extra filters with it. But so it doesn't smell on the counter. If I know some people are worried about that.
Yeah. The other thing that, and I think people are more mindful of this, they're more aware of it, but don't think about it as a great gift, which it is. If you have, thinking about food, if you have somebody who eats out a lot, or likes to pick up that soda from, I don't know, the fast food place, or order whatever from whatever takeout place. Reusable straws and reusable cutlery. So you can avoid the throwaway straw and the throwaway cutlery. That is a great gift for anybody who's being mindful of the environment. And there are a lot of options. So the reusable cutlery, often you can get it in like a bamboo and little cases. Sometimes people it comes in metal. I mean, just type in reusable cutlery. Like you said, you will find so many different kinds of options. And for the straws, you can buy a metal straw. You could buy a plastic straw that can be reused, not a throwaway plastic straw, one of hard plastic. You can buy something like a final straw, where it's a straw that actually folds up into a little container. And that's a really great option. I think Final Straw has also created some sporks, right? Like foldable cutlery. And they also have a smoothie straw, right? Because smoothies tend to be thicker, and that straw is a little bit bigger. So reusable straws, reusable cutlery is a really great gift for somebody who eats out a lot, orders in a lot, eats, and I don't mean eats out at a restaurant, but, like grab and go kind of food. So that's a really good one too, that to think about, in addition to the basics, like a reusable coffee cup, a reusable water cup, and reusable bags to carry everything in, of course.
I think also on that note, something that pops in my brain that I have invested in several for myself, but realizing it could make a great gift, is there's a lot of keep it cold, portable, metal, like cocktail containers, and like you can find them everywhere. Like you can use them for coffee, you can use them for, there's there's ones that get very specific to like, this is for champagne, this is for scotch, this is for wine. There's some that are more generic, and there's like so many different companies that one can get them from, and like me and my friends have them all. But I was thinking about this because I have them for myself, just because I think they're really cool. And in law school, I think one of the things in law school was my friends and I would do a walk and a drink with us when we would go just walking along the streets of Vermont in the woods. And it was just nice to talk and have this container. But the other thing I would use it for is a lot of my friends, when they have big events and it's alcohol related, one, they usually just put out throwaway cups, and then I have to be the one that's like, could you please tell me where your washable things are? And sometimes it's a whole like, well, Anneke, I don't want to wash it. And then I'm like, it's fine, I'll wash it. But sometimes like if you're a little bit more uncomfortable, or maybe it's somebody else's house, or like you do worry that you'll forget to wash it, or frankly, like with alcohol, like you are afraid you will drop a glass. These are like really great metal containers that you're just going to take with you. And if you drop it, it doesn't break anyways. And there's so many different kinds, so many different types, and like whatever you want. But so I always bring it to my friends' houses now when they invite me over for drinks, because one, I don't have to worry about the throwaway cup. I don't have to feel bad about bugging them for one that they may have to wash or that I would forget to wash. And I don't have to worry about having a drink too many and dropping it and breaking it.
You just made me think about another kind of idea. It's like a putting together of things. For somebody who has to travel a lot, which I've been doing quite a bit of for the book. And so, I find myself in hotel rooms. So what I have, and I'm just thinking, oh, somebody could make this as a kit for people. So you've given me a reusable coffee cup that's like coffee or wine. So it's like shorter and stouter. It's not like a tall 16-ounce cup, but it's like shorter. And what I do is I pack that with a little teaspoon, with a little container of instant coffee, with a little container of non-dairy creamer powder, with a little container of, I use stevia for my sweetener. And so I have this, it's really just a bag with these little containers of these various items, and then that coffee cup that you gave for me. And when in the morning, when you go to a hotel and they have the the little coffee machine, and it's plastic packets of the coffee and the creamer and the whatever. And then when you open it, there's a plastic straw and there's a plastic this, and you have to put it in the paper cup that's there. So it's a lot of waste. Me, I don't. What I do is I use their little coffee making machine as the thing to heat up my water. And I have it flow into the reusable cup that you gave me, to which I have added all of my ingredients. So I make myself a nice hot cup of coffee or 3 in my hotel room every morning, and I'm not creating all that waste. So that's an idea. Like, that's also a kind of idea when you're being mindful of things that somebody is doing in their life. You can put together a combination of things that, one is better for the earth, but I know for me, I find this much more convenient. I much prefer my instant coffee to whatever kind of crap they have in the hotel. I like to have my stevia. I don't want their sugar or their, whatever their fake sweet. So that's another kind of thing that you can do, is be mindful of what somebody's doing in their life and see if you can make a little kit for them that helps address or solve a problem they might have.